So if we hear something that's a potential threat to us, we're gonna ball up. We're gonna retreat. We're gonna keep ourselves safe. And unfortunately, what happens for a lot of people, not everybody, but is while you're keeping yourself safe, you're missing the learning opportunity, maybe the chance at work to speak up in a meeting, to make a suggestion, or to do some work that's going to bring solutions to your management and your coworkers. And they're like, oh, wow.
I think the team, they get worried, like, am I going to be replaced by a bunch of Jennies? And my answer to that is only if you allow yourself to be, right? But can Jenny integrate and help you be more effective at your role?
Because what you want to do in today's world, right? Information is a commodity. Information is so readily available. That's less valuable. What is valuable is somebody who helps others feel important, seen, heard, and understood. So be that person.
Welcome back to another episode of the Tradepreneur Show. I'm your host, Patrick Somers, and I've got a very special guest with me today. I've got a gentleman, a friend, colleague. His name's Scott Stolze, and Scott is the founder of GrowX Labs, which helps business owners solve the biggest challenge or problem they have in their business. It could be marketing or sales, finance, people, you name it. Scott and GrowX will find and help you implement the proper resources and solutions. Scott is very invested these days in how AI is impacting both individuals and companies. Scott is looking to help them maximize opportunities while also setting everyone up for success. And with that said, Scott, welcome to the Tradepreneur Show.
Patrick, it's great to be here. I appreciate it. You are definitely one of my mentors and examples with some of the mission and work that I do today. You had a big influence on me in recent years, so I appreciate it. It's great to be here to talk to you about it.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm honored. And this has been a long time coming. To get this together and make this work, and as everyone knows, I prefer to do interviews in studio. Yes. I think it's better, but it can't always happen. So we were patient and rode this out until we could get our schedules to sync.
We were. I will think it's worth noting that Patrick talked to me a few months ago, and I was on the East Coast a lot for several reasons, and we had been wanting to do this conversation because the point of this conversation, or one of, is really critical. Is going to help and does help a lot of people. But you said, you know what? Wait till you get back so we can do it in person, and I think it was worth it.
Yeah, agreed. And and you and I have had many conversations outside of this show on AI, and I think that my understanding is there's areas where we're very aligned, and there's areas where we diverge in our beliefs or our thinking and whatnot. So you're very much into people. You're a people person, right? And your big thing is how does this impact the person, and how can they best utilize it, and not replace an individual? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, for sure. And I agree. We've had some great conversations, and I think there's so much of alignment in where we're going, what we believe. Where I may spend a little bit more time than you do, and understandably so, so I'm a big believer in the narratives that we hear in life, whether it's through the TV, our phone, talking to friends, coworkers, et cetera. They have a big impact on us. And I see the narratives that are out there around AI and technology and the platforms and where we're going. And unfortunately, a lot of them are not in the direction that is very helpful for people. I think AI itself is an amazing tool, broad term, and we're going to be able to do a lot of amazing things with it, a lot of great stuff.
Yes.
But we also have to be setting people up for success. We have to let people know, like, this is an opportunity. Yes, there's going to be some change in jobs and roles. Some may disappear over time. We'll see how that plays out in the coming years. But there's a lot of opportunity. And when I go online or I'm involved in conversations, and so much of it is, here's what's being lost, here's the danger you're in, here's what you better do, and if you don't, you're in big trouble. Well, that may not all be inaccurate, but there's a better way to say it. I think people like you and I are better advocates for where this is going.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because sometimes the way it's talked about is doom and scary. And obviously, when you hear the media talk about it, that's intentional. right? Because that's what sells. That's what gets eyeballs on the screen. But, you know, what that ends up doing is it gets people to be very shut down over it versus embracing it and looking at it in the right way. I mean, there are some scary things about it that I feel. I mean, I always think of Skynet and the Terminator, right? And man, it's my real concern with it is what does it do? I look at the youth, right? And they're just on their phones and they're on video games. And what happens when you can go into a virtual AI world and almost live in that world? Is that something that we have to worry about? Or is that so far out there? I mean, I like to believe in humanity a little bit more, that if that does become a thing, it's a small portion of the population. But there's tremendous opportunity, as you spoke to really integrate this in the right way.
I'll tell you, and you know, I'm not really a technical tools-based person. I'm people, like you said at the top. But even I see the opportunity with AI. And, you know, you just earlier today in your office, you showed, which things are going great here, by the way. I really applaud you and your team. It looks fantastic here. You guys clearly are doing great things, both internally as a business and out there in the community. But what you showed me earlier today and I got to listen to was really impressive. And I don't say this out of arrogance, but if you're impressing me with a new tool that you're going to be rolling out here soon, I think that says a lot, because I'm always going to put the people first. Like, how is this going to impact your team? And of course, how is it impacting your customers? So I like a lot of things you're doing and where it's going. And I see so much opportunity with AI. But again, back to our point, how are people looking at it? You made an interesting comment a few minutes ago. We as humans, right, what do? When we're wired for safety, protection, and survival. Mm-hmm. So if we hear something that's a potential threat to us, we're gonna ball up. We're gonna retreat. We're gonna keep ourselves safe. And unfortunately, what happens for a lot of people, not everybody, but is while you're keeping yourself safe, you're missing the learning opportunity, maybe the chance at work to speak up in a meeting, to make a suggestion, or to do some work that's going to bring solutions to your management and your coworkers. And they're like, oh, wow, now I see the value of using this. Let's dig into that some more. I want to help people get to the front instead of, while understandable to be a little nervous about it, instead of retreating.
Yeah, well, and first of all, thank you for the compliments on the business, and I will be the first to tell you that's all the team. We have an amazing team here. We've got some great leadership, and everyone from the newest member of this team all the way up to our general manager really is committed and doing a great job. So what you see here, while I often get the credit for it, it's an amazing team that makes it happen, and a little bit of AI. All right, but that you don't really see. So the tool you were talking about, I was sharing with Scott. We use Lace in our call center, and it's a tool that helps us perform better in the call center and checks metrics and everything like that on the team that are booking the calls. The other part of it is the virtual agent. So we have a virtual agent, and we named, this is the weird thing, like, do I call her or it? Because it's a machine, right? Named it or her Jenny with a G, as in General Jenny. And Jenny is still in training, okay? But I called the number, and it answered, and I went through and booked an entire call. And then from that, there was a few misses that, like, Scott didn't pick up, but I did. And so I passed that on to our contact center manager. She passed it on to Lace, and I will tell you, they are amazingly quick in responding and getting the engineers to tweak and figure out. So that's the training phase that we're going through. But that's AI, and that's how it's being used today. And I think the team, they get worried, like, am I going to be replaced by a bunch of Jennies? And my answer to that is only if you allow yourself to be, right? But can Jenny integrate and help you be more effective at your role and spend more time on specific tasks while they're booking the calls in the background? That's the real, to me, solution and how you need to look at this.
Well, and two things I think that we should acknowledge, and I think it's fantastic, again, being here. I wasn't sure how much detail you wanted to go into with what you shared with me earlier, but now that you let that cat out of the bag, awesome. So what I witnessed and what I'm hearing from you and even talking to a couple people on your team is you're teaching, you're training, you're getting the feedback, like what are the results? And then, okay, where do we need to tweak? And the more open, not just you, Patrick, but for any leader out there, for any decision maker in an organization, when you're open with your team, when you share this is what we're doing or even thinking of doing, and then you integrate collectively where people see results, see where there needs to be some additional adjustments or enhancements, and then they can see how much better it gets along the way. It's almost like you're getting your team's buy-in as you build and roll things out. So you're doing that really well and correctly, of course, because that's going to set everybody up for success. The other thing I'll share based on that example is, yes, and a little repetitive, but look at this as an opportunity because for every call that tool takes, it frees somebody here up at the General to help a customer in a different way. And if I'm an employee or a member of a team, and some of my reward is tied into incentives which speak to how much money is the business making? How much are we growing? Well, if I know we have tools that are helping us grow and some of my reward is built upon or predicated on that growth, well, I'm winning too. And again, and I would employ, people, I know it's easier said than done because we're very much in our heads, but think about outwardly, what is this doing for the business as a whole? And then how can I help drive that and continue and help it grow even more so that we all win? And last thing, if you are an advocate that way, if you speak, act, support, and carry yourself in such a way where you're like, this is about all of us and our customers, I guarantee you most managers and leaders like Patrick are going to be like, I'm keeping them around.
Well, and I gave an example earlier when we were talking about, I use soldiers, right? And back in the day when you had swords and spears, the area that one soldier could cover is a matter of square feet, right? And then we've evolved through the years with the invention of gunpowder and things like that, it becomes a larger and larger area. And where now a soldier can cover many square miles, one soldier. And so let's take it to something even probably more people can relate to. Look at a farmer. A farmer used to have to go out with oxen and plow the field and do all of that. Then came tractors, which made them more efficient. Back in the day, probably very equivalent to something like AI coming along. And now, there's this technology where they use AI to figure out planting and everything like that. It doesn't eliminate the farmer. It changes the farmer's role. It makes the farmer more productive and actually can manage more acres of farmland.
Mm-hmm. Right. So the results are going to be better. I and Patrick has the benefit of knowing me well. And he and a lot of people in my circle know that almost 99 out of 100 times I'm going to put people first. Right. But I've been very impressed by where this technology is going. And I've trained myself, as transactional as that might sound, I've really trained myself over, and you probably hopefully noticed a difference in, say, talking to me 8 or 9 months ago, where I'm like, oh, that's really great, or that's cool, that's awesome. I can see the benefit of that tool. And now, okay, what are we all going to do to elevate that even more so that I get better at it's almost like you kind of go up step by step. I get better at my role. I'm better positioned to help customers and coworkers. My management sees that. They're going to come to me because what you want to do in today's world, right? Information is a commodity. Information is so readily available. That's less valuable. What is valuable is somebody who helps others feel important, seen, heard, and understood. So be that person. Be that person who's like helping others say and feel like, oh, you know what? I wasn't really aware of that, but now because of the work you did or the information you shared in that meeting, now I see it in a different way. And again, it all comes back to how valuable are you in your organization and the customers? Make sure people are seeing it, and you don't need to be an extrovert or extremely loud to do that. Give people access, right? Give people, you can probably think of a bunch of examples. Yeah. Give people access to solutions and information that help them get better at their role. And then people are going to realize, like, he or she who's giving me that access, I want to keep them around.
Yeah. I have spent a lot of time here talking about AI, teaching, not necessarily on the podcast, although I've done several episodes, but with our team and showing everybody from the CSRs to leadership to the technicians, how can you use it? And in the field, I went to look at an installation, and I took out my phone. I used AI. In this case, I think I used ChatGPT. There are these two 20-ton units on a building, and I was able to take a photo of 3 pages. Every time somebody accessed the units, they had to do a maintenance log. I took 3 pages of the maintenance logs, right? I asked AI to analyze it, summarize what repairs were done, the frequency of the visits, all that type of data. In like 15 seconds, I had it. Then I was able to take a data plate picture of the unit, and I said, find me the installation manual. What is the spacing, the distance that these things need to be installed from another unit or a structure or whatever. And it gave me boilerplate numbers, right? And I was like, okay, these are too perfect because they're not going to be the same on all sides. So I said, find me the installation manual. Said I can't access the installation manual, but then it gave me a link that I could access the installation manual. Now, these are 20-year-old units. I clicked this link, and it opened up, and there I found the installation manual and the clearances. So then I took a picture of that. I did this whole analysis, put together an entire report, which would probably take that time, come back, put all the photos together, write everything out. I did that in the time I was on the roof. It took me maybe 5 minutes. And so that isn't going to replace me, but it's going to make better use of my time. I still have to look it over. I have to still make sure it's accurate, just like when it gave me an answer I just knew it's probably a safe answer, and if you installed it that way, it'd be fine, but those were not from the manufacturer. So, it wasn't going to replace me or that visit. It just made me much more efficient at that visit.
Tell me if I'm wrong on this, Patrick. I feel hearing, and I've worked with, and I'm familiar, and I know some people in the industry, and I've formulated some thoughts and conclusions in my head, but you tell me firsthand right now. In home services, clearly AI and this kind of technology will save a lot of people a lot of time. And I know that's applicable to a lot of businesses. But the way it saves time in your space, is that going to allow, like, what would you say as a leader? And I know you talk to a lot of people across the country at events and whatnot, some of which are AI based. Do you see that time saved turning into major reward for the company and the individuals who work for you? And I don't mean just dollars. I mean, like, hey, we're growing in terms of customer base in the community. It's raising our level of awareness. Like, we're now known as the front runners, the thought leaders in this space. And the last thing, if you can comment on this, is how are customers feeling about it? Like, if somebody's using this technology in the home, they're more efficient, they're in the home less time. Are customers seeing the value of that too, or they're kind of oblivious to that?
They're kind of oblivious to it because it's behind the scenes, a lot of it. Now, they are seeing some things like just technology being different as far as the thermostat and being able to interact with the system in a different way. But how it will help a business, we have this issue with, not having enough tradespeople, not having enough people entering the trades. So what it will allow you to do is do more with less, right? So one technician, just like that soldier can cover more square miles, one technician can cover more units. Now, this is specifically on the HVAC side, right? Using the tool to diagnose and troubleshoot, all of that AI makes quicker work of things. I will tell you, the one area that the one trade, there's many trades, but if I look at welding, there's robotic welders, right? HVAC, the technology is getting so advanced, and I can diagnose a system from the office, if we have the right system, the right thermostats. My house, we were out, we had to move the condenser over, and so when they went, nobody was home. I was in Indiana, and when they went to start it, the system couldn't start, and the technician that was in my house needed to get in the house to the thermostat. Well, there's no way to get him in the house, right? But I text the office. I said, hey, you can go online. You can go into Lennox Pros. You can go into my thermostat and reset it from the desktop at the office. So they're able to do that. And what it did is they were routing a technician out there that could help him, right, and find a way around that. But I was able to like, no, we don't have to send a technician. Now we freed that technician up to go handle another call, right? And that's not necessarily AI, that's just technology. However, when AI starts getting integrated into this, there's an organization out there called Blue On, and Blue On uses AI to a large extent to help technicians. The challenge, and this is, if you're a technician out there, this is kind of my warning, because I experience it when I talk to technicians, and I teach them and show them some insights. It's getting them to use it, right? It's like, for some reason, technicians, it's so hard to get a technician to call customer support, tech support, which tech support's a lifesaver. You know, they can help you with a lot of things. Instead, they call each other, and sometimes they call the person that knows less than them, right? But you call tech support. If you use AI, AI becomes tech support in your pocket, right? But to get people to use it, and I don't know why there's that resistance. It could be just the unknown. I don't understand it. It could be the pride thing. I don't need this to know more than me.
Well, if I can then throw one thing out, and then I have another question for you that you just triggered in my head. But for technicians, it's a great example of, you hear this a lot. Those who open up the knowledge and wisdom that they have to others are the ones who do really well in life. And, you know, I can rattle off 5 names. I can rattle off 500. You look upon yourself, people you've seen do really well in life. I guarantee you that almost all of them were people who were open and sharing with their wisdom and knowledge. So as a technician, whether you're a couple years in the trade or many years, be that person, because then the technology, by the way, is a supplement and complement to everything you already know too. You're still going to be very valuable. My question to you, I was just thinking about this listening to you, is micro is the most famous one, the well-known one. And there's many people saying, you know, go to the trades. College is less valuable because of some of the jobs that are going to be replaced by AI. Do you like that narrative? I'm assuming, of course, as a owner of an organization like the General, you are. But is the narrative the way it's being presented out there now, when everybody's saying, look, go blue collar, learn a trade, and you're going to be good? Is that enough, or does more need to come with that message?
Well, I mean, I think it's enough as far as the basic message that, hey, there is tremendous opportunity in the trades. And going to college and getting a degree is not going to produce what it used to produce. The likelihood is it's going to produce a lot more debt than it is opportunity and income, right? And so I believe that there's tremendous opportunity in the trades. A few podcasts back, I discussed this article. It was a Wall Street Journal, and it was the amount of people that are rethinking college and leaving college and going into the trades because they realize what they're pursuing is not going to be around, or going to be a totally different role. And, you know, I think we were experimenting earlier with, I was demonstrating Grok, the voice feature of it, which is amazing. And I've said this before, I truly believe Grok is training to be the interface with the Tesla robot, right? Because it's very human. And we were talking about what we were going to discuss on the podcast. And it was Grok who said, you know, think of AI as a very efficient intern, right? And I was like, wow, that's really what it is, because the way I use it, and I was sharing with you, I do a budget every year. And the budget takes weeks, sometimes months, depending on how much time I can give it to it. I literally did the budget in a couple hours, right? Now, I had to go in and tweak things and this and that and analyze, and it put it together in an Excel spreadsheet for me. It broke everything down. I mean, what it did in that amount of time would have taken me a lot more time. And now my time is freed up to do other things. And so I'm a little off base on your original question, but yes, the trades, there is opportunity. I think the message is enough. It's enough to spark interest, right? Now I think it's the individual's responsibility to say, okay, wait, I got a guy like Mike Rowe, and there's other people, there's me even saying, hey, rethink college. Why don't you pursue a trade? There's tremendous opportunity. My son came to me senior year of high school. He says, Dad, I'm not going to college. I'm going to come work for you. I'm going to learn the trades. And then he said, I'm not going to be around forever. I'm going to want to go do my own thing. And I said, that's fantastic, but stay long enough to become more than just an apprentice or a trainee. You're gonna have to put 10 years in or whatever, right? But he has a goal. He wants to buy a house by the time his friends graduate from college. And he's going to buy a house, have money in the bank, and no debt, making 6 figures a year. So, yes, now you have to understand what the trades are, right? The trade, you're going to be turning wrenches. You're going to be climbing on rooftops. You're going to be laying on your side in an attic with insulation falling down your crack. I mean, that's the reality of it, but that's not all of it. There's teaching opportunity. There's management. There's so many different areas you can go into. So the trades is tremendous opportunity, and AI is just going to open up more opportunity and make people more efficient and productive. And back earlier, I never finished my thought, and I was talking about HVAC and how a lot of technology is deployed in HVAC, just by the very nature of it, just like electrical networks and everything like that. The one trade, I will tell you, that I think is going to have the most opportunity, I think it has it now, and it's going to continue to be the one that has the most opportunity with the least impact from AI, and that is plumbing. That while there's going to be, they're going to put AI into water meters and things like that, and monitoring your water usage and you getting more efficient, it's hard to deploy too much technology, if that makes sense, right? Water's about gravity, right? And yet now you'll use AI to monitor things and stuff like that, and you'll use it as a diagnostic tool and whatnot, but you're still going to have to turn around.
Well, as long as it's helpful and insightful. And of course, ultimately, one of the objectives, right, is to save time, be more efficient, move things along faster. Which, if I can throw one other piece of this conversation out there, because I'm very curious to what you say too, is I was talking last week. I think you'll appreciate this conversation, Patrick. Last week, I was talking to a woman who works in finance of a construction company, and amongst many things she shared with me, one of them was her leadership. And she didn't say this in a really overly critical or derogatory way, but she said that some of the AI data outputs that her and some coworkers had shared with senior leaders, it's not a small construction company, that they shared with senior leadership didn't know how to interpret it. And immediately what I thought, and I would love to hear what you think about this, when I heard that was, that's an opportunity. Be that person. If you're churning out some output, in finance for a construction company, whether it's residential, commercial, whatever, don't you want to be the person who walks into the office or into a meeting with executives and senior leadership and say, here's not only what we found, but here's how it impacts the business?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And there will be opportunities like that arise, right? I think I would have asked AI to interpret it for me. And break this down, explain this, put this into simple terms that I understand.
But see, you know that not everybody knows to do that.
Yeah, true. But I think more and more people will. As it becomes more and more part of our world, we will. And I think that at the end of the day is the most important thing, is how do you integrate it? And when are you going to start integrating it? And you don't have to be an all things all the time AI person. But we're interacting with it when we don't even know we're interacting with it. Like when you're on an automated agent, right? An AI agent, you're calling these companies, and that's all AI, which was really cool. I'm going to plug Lace again. I showed Scott that after it booked the call, I immediately got a text message confirming my booking, and I went to the dispatch board, and the call was already placed with all of the information I gave regarding what the call was. It was all done like that quick. And now think about it. So if that's doing it that quick, man, it does it faster than a human can do it, right? But the human is better at other things. Mm-hmm. So data entry, let a machine do data entry, right? See, if I am here and I've got this Jenny integrating and Jenny starts answering a bunch of calls, I'm going to, on my own, start calling those customers when I see a call pop up that was booked by Jenny. I'm going to say, hey, Mrs. Jones, I saw you came in, you called in and used our Jenny automated booking system. I'm just calling. I wanted to thank you for choosing General Air Conditioning and Plumbing. And I just want to confirm that you are on the schedule. And if you need anything, we're here for you. Right?
I love, yes, absolutely. I love it. And this is where, and one of the missions that I'm on now is just encouraging. I don't believe in telling. Patrick and I together in work in prior years, telling doesn't do a lot of good. Even writing about it doesn't do a lot of good, but we can suggest, we can encourage, and we can support. And I am encouraging people, use, and this isn't manipulative, use the fact that a lot of people don't know what tools are really helpful for them right now. Use that to your advantage and be somebody, again, who's showing them different options. Patrick taught me two things this morning, not just with that particular agent, but something else on his phone that I didn't know existed or could be done. And I will walk out of here today saying, oh, I can try that a little bit more, simply because he shared it. So being in that mindset of sharing and giving, again, that's always going to be a win-win.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm constantly learning new things, right? I hear people speak about it whenever I can. I had a speaker an event I was at where there was a speaker on it. He's written several books. I've gotten one of the books. It's very informative. I'm constantly learning, and this is evolving. So my I guess advice to people would be, and tell me if you concur. I think you do, but is start integrating it into your life in the right way, in a meaningful way, and that even if you're not going to use it a whole lot, start learning how to use it, because my brother started using it, and he's very like
The old school?
yeah, he's kind of like, how do you know? How can you trust it? And I said, well, I guess skeptical is probably a good word to describe it. But he it's funny because I'll use it and he'll say, like, how can you trust it? I said, well, listen, first of all, if the answer makes sense, it makes sense. And I'm going to cross-reference it, right? Like if I see something on social media, I'm just not going to believe it. I'm going to see if there's other sources for it, right?
Smart. Yeah.
And so I do that with the AI when I use it as well. But he was interacting with it, and he was getting frustrated. And look, it can get frustrating. It now produces some really good Excel spreadsheets and things like that for me because I've gotten better in how I engage with it. My brother is new to it. He started getting mad at it, and the AI actually shut down and stopped engaging with him, right? But the thing is, it's how you prompt it. Mm-hmm. How you prompt it. So if you don't know how to prompt it properly, it's like anything else. It's a machine. Bad data in, bad data out.
Well, that's why I think your point is true. You do a lot on your own time, and then you'll see where it can help you in your personal life, and then you can strategically and intentionally start to bring some of that into your professional life if the opportunity is there, or you make the opportunity to do that.
Well, and I think as we come to a close here, your take, and this is where we're very much aligned, and that is AI, no matter how advanced, how technologically advanced it gets, and no matter what it starts to replace, it will never be human. It will never have a heartbeat. It will never have a conscience. And that's the thing people have to realize is there is no conscience. It's a machine, right? And it will never have a soul. And with that brings us to another conclusion of the Tradepreneur Show. I want to thank you, Scott, for being here. I really enjoyed the conversation. And, if you like the show, I'd appreciate it if you share it. Give us a comment, give us a like, and thank you for your support. Until next time, be great and win the day.